A few years ago, United Methodist minister Martin Thielen produced a book with a provocative title, "What's the Least I Can Believe and Still Be a Christian?" Whether you agree with his conclusions or not, his book raises an important and enduring question. Are there Christian beliefs that are optional? Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. Over the last 20 years or so, many congregations have begun including a page on their website that's usually called What We Believe. And about 30 years ago, there was a movement within the Presbyterian Church called the Confessing Church movement. What these have in common is the desire to establish final, fixed beliefs that once and for all define what it means to be Christian. What that tells me is what I've been teaching about our Reformed confessions for many years, namely, that confessions in the church typically arise for one of three reasons: challenges from outside the church, conflict from within the church, and major events that the church sees as a natural time to restate the faith in a new situation. Examples of these three occasions leading to the rise of confessional statements are these. In the 1930s, churches in Germany, reacting to the rise of the Nazi Party, wrote a penetrating theological statement called the Theological Declaration of Barmen, or the Barmen Declaration for short. Our own Presbyterian Church produced the Confession of 1967 in response to racial injustice. And in the 1980s, Reformed churches in South Africa produced the Belhar Confession, attacking the theological underpinnings of the apartheid system. Perhaps more common are confessional statements that have arisen during times of conflict within the church. The Nicene Creed is one, so is the Scots Confession and the Westminster Confession, and the list goes on and on. Then there are the few that are written to mark important moments in a church's life. Our own denomination's A Brief Statement of Faith was written to commemorate the reunion of the former Northern and Southern Presbyterian churches in 1983. All of this is to say, the question of what Christians have to believe is pretty much always a live question. And it should come as no surprise to know that different churches answer this question in very different ways. And more often than we'd like to admit, differences between theological traditions have led to real conflict, sometimes even armed conflict. It may come as a surprise then that one of the things we Presbyterians believe is that good and faithful Christians can and do disagree on a great many things, and yet these disagreements should not be an occasion to divide from one another or to condemn each other. The technical theological term for this is Adiaphora, meaning things indifferent. Paul speaks of this kind of thing throughout his letters, but perhaps the best discussion of it is in Romans 14, where he talks about the importance of sometimes refraining from something, not because the thing itself is wrong, but because of the assault it has on people's consciences. He says, "Welcome those who are weak in the faith, but not for the purpose of quarreling over opinions. Some believe in eating anything, while the weak eat only vegetables. Those who eat must not despise those who abstain, and those who abstain must not pass judgment on those who eat, for God has welcomed them. Who are you to pass judgment on servants of another? It is before their own Lord that they stand or fall, and they will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make them stand." John Calvin spoke of this very same thing in a discussion of the proper form of serving the Lord's Supper, saying, "But as for the outward ceremony of the action, whether or not the believers take it, the bread in their hands, or divide it among themselves, or severally eat what has been given to each, whether they hand the cup back to the deacon or give it to the next person, whether the bread is leavened or unleavened, the wine red or white, it makes no difference. These things are indifferent and left at the church's discretion." And in a statement written in 1788, the year before our national denomination came into being, the Synod of New York and Philadelphia wrote, "We believe that there are truths and forms with respect to which men of good character and principles may differ, and in all these we think it the duty of both private Christians and societies to exercise mutual forbearance toward each other. All of which is a long way to say that there are lots of things we think of as necessary, but which are truly matters of individual or group taste or opinion. Imagine what a difference it would make if we could more easily recognize just how much in the Christian traditions is Adiaphora, indifferent. Might make for a little more peace in our world. Tomorrow, adoption. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.